At the edge of a quiet Florida aviation community stands a home unlike any other, where the backyard is measured not in grass, but in runway length. This is where John Travolta built a private world shaped by motion, privacy, and control. The estate is designed for a man who lives between ground and sky, with aircraft positioned as naturally as cars and daily routines structured around flight. Everything about the property reflects intention rather than excess. It is not a showpiece, but a functional extension of his identity as a pilot. Beyond the gates, the home reveals wealth expressed through engineering, design, and disciplined living rather than decoration. This video steps inside to explore the estate, the assets, and the mindset behind a lifestyle driven by lifelong aviation passion. Yet long before private runways and aircraft hangars defined his world, Travolta's instincts were shaped by a far more modest beginning, a childhood of contrast and instinct. John Travolta was born on February 18, 1954, in New Jersey, the youngest of 6 children in a household defined by balance and contrast. His mother, Helen Cecilia, lived for performance, having sung and acted on radio before choosing the stability of teaching drama. His father, Salvatore, once pursued football before settling into tire sales, prioritizing reliability over ambition. From them, Travolta absorbed 2 instincts early on: the desire to perform and the discipline to survive when applause disappears. The home was not wealthy, but it was rich in encouragement and realism. Creativity existed alongside responsibility, shaping a young boy who learned early that talent alone was never enough. These lessons stayed with him long after childhood, quietly influencing the choices he would make when fame arrived suddenly, and even more importantly, when it later faded. Choosing risk over safety. At just 17, John Travolta made a decision that redirected his entire life. He left high school and moved to New York City, choosing uncertainty over comfort. Broadway became his classroom, teaching him discipline, timing, and resilience under pressure, roles in Over Here. And the touring production of Grease demanded consistency and stamina, refining his work ethic long before Hollywood noticed him. Live audiences offered no second takes, only immediate feedback. That experience shaped his confidence and sharpened his instincts. Soon after, he moved west to Los Angeles with little more than momentum and belief. Early film appearances were brief but noticeable, including Carrie in 1976, while television brought national recognition through Welcome Back, Kotter. Fame arrived quickly, almost too quickly, leaving little time to adjust before the industry placed enormous expectations on someone still discovering who he was. Becoming a cultural phenomenon. The late 1970s transformed John Travolta into a global symbol. Saturday Night Fever in 1977 did more than succeed. It captured a generation and reshaped popular culture. His performance earned an Academy Award nomination at just 24, placing him among Hollywood's elite almost overnight. The following year, Grease amplified that success, turning him into a worldwide star. Money arrived fast, along with relentless attention and expectation. These films built the foundation of his early wealth and introduced him to the idea of freedom beyond acting alone. He began imagining a life defined by mobility, control, and independence. Yet fame's speed carried risks. The industry offered little patience for growth or mistakes. While the world celebrated his rise, pressure mounted quietly behind the scenes. Travolta stood at a peak few ever reach, unaware how quickly momentum could reverse when trends shifted and choices missed their mark. When momentum slowed, the 1980s marked a sharp shift in John Travolta's career narrative. A series of creative missteps and unfortunate timing changed how Hollywood viewed him. Films failed to meet expectations, critics turned colder, and roles became harder to secure. Even projects that earned money, such as Staying Alive, damaged his credibility. For a time, he became a cautionary tale of early fame. Yet these quieter years proved valuable. They forced patience, restraint, and reflection. Rather than disappearing, Travolta waited, choosing not to chase trends or desperation roles. The setback reshaped how he approached work and risk. When the comeback arrived, it was not driven by ego but by readiness. These years taught him the importance of control over momentum, a lesson that would later influence both his financial strategy and the carefully structured lifestyle he would build away from the spotlight. A second peak, built on control. The comeback began subtly in 1989 with Look Who's Talking restoring commercial confidence. The true transformation arrived in 1994 with Pulp Fiction. The role reframed Travolta not as a fading star, but as an actor with depth and gravity. Success followed steadily throughout the 1990s with films like Get Shorty, Face Off, and A Civil Action. His income stabilized, diversified, and grew strategically. No longer chasing relevance, he selected roles that balanced creativity and control. By the 2000s, he mixed mainstream projects with personal interests, exploring voice work, production, and genre films. Not every risk succeeded, but each reinforced independence. Success and failure refined his judgment, turning early fame into experience. His career became less about attention and more about direction, patience, and autonomy, mirroring the disciplined life he was shaping beyond film sets. Inside the Florida Aviation estate located within the Jumbo Air Aviation Estates near Ocala, John Travolta's Florida home is defined not by a driveway, but by a private runway. Sitting on roughly 9.5 acres, the estate spans nearly 7,000 square feet and was purchased with Kelly Preston in 2001. 2 aircraft hangars sit beside a taxiway connecting directly to a 7,500-foot runway, allowing seamless movement from sky to home. The architecture favors low, horizontal lines, white exterior surfaces, and expansive glass facing the runway. Inside, Aviation appears intentionally, from compass-designed flooring to model aircraft displays. Large, curved windows overlook parked planes, blurring the line between interior living and airfield. The dining room features a mural inspired by early aviation advertising, anchoring the home in the romance of flight. This estate is not decorative. It is operational, private, and precisely aligned with Travolta's rhythm of life. Assets shaped by timing and patience. The most surprising number in John Travolta's financial story is not his largest paycheck, but his smallest comeback deal. He earned just $150,000 for Pulp Fiction, a modest fee that restarted a career eventually producing an estimated $250 million fortune. Early successes paid well, $150,000 for Saturday Night Fever and $2 million for Grease. But true financial acceleration came after credibility returned. Salaries climbed steadily, $6 million for Get Shorty, $20 million for Face Off, and consistent top-tier pay through the late 1990s and early 2000s. Across 16 major films, his confirmed acting income reached roughly $230 million. Additional earnings came from producing credits, international distribution, and promotions. Instead of excess, Travolta invested heavily in real estate and aviation-focused properties, turning income into assets that supported long-term security, independence, and the lifestyle he intentionally designed. Giving meaning through philanthropy. Personal loss reshaped John Travolta's approach to giving. After the death of his son Jet in 2009, the Jet Travolta Foundation expanded its mission, distributing approximately $5 million to support children with special needs through medical care, education, and family assistance. Travolta also became quietly active in disaster relief, donating around $1 million to the American Red Cross across multiple campaigns. International efforts included contributions to Haiti earthquake recovery and Australian wildfire relief totaling several million more. These actions were not framed publicly but carried out consistently. Philanthropy became a way to transform grief into purpose, allowing success to serve others rather than define him. Giving offered balance, grounding his wealth in compassion rather than visibility. Over time, this commitment reinforced a shift away from fame toward meaning, reflecting a life increasingly centered on responsibility, empathy, and long-term impact rather than public recognition. Life defined by quiet intention. Today, John Travolta lives a quieter life centered on family, routine, and intention. Since the passing of his wife, Kelly Preston, in 2020, he has focused fully on raising his children and maintaining stability. He remains deeply connected to her memory, often sharing reflections on meaningful dates. Daily life follows a calm rhythm, with selective travel tied only to work or family needs. Mornings are unhurried, and time at home is prioritized. His dog Peanut appears often in relaxed moments, symbolizing comfort and companionship. Spiritually, he remains connected to his beliefs, which continue to offer structure. Success is no longer measured by visibility but by balance. The Florida estate allows departures and returns on his own terms, reflecting a man who has learned to control motion, not chase it. This is a life shaped not by noise, but by clarity earned over time.